This morning, the president is tweeting. He says, "We were let down by all of the Democrats and a few Republicans. Most Republicans were loyal, terrific, and worked really hard. We will return." And he said, "As I have always said, let Obamacare fail and then come together and do a great health care plan. Stay tuned." Joining us now from Capitol Hill, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Mike Barnicle, Mark Halperin are still with Joe and me as well. And Joe Scarborough, what's going on?
Well, you know, Mika, you just look at that tweet this morning, and it shows how little the President of the United States understands Washington, understands Congress, and understands democracies and how democracies work. For the president to say that somebody is being disloyal because they can't support a bill that would ravage people in their own state suggests a complete ignorance of the process. Just because somebody from Maine has different concerns from somebody from Alabama doesn't mean the person from Alabama is more loyal to the cause. I guess in this case, Joe Manchin, Donald Trump is just talking about loyalty to himself, and that's where he misses it again. This is not about himself. This is about hundreds of millions of Americans who need health care. And I want to ask you something right now. What happens to the good people of West Virginia if Republicans decide to repeal the Affordable Care Act and have nothing to replace it with?
It would be disastrous, Joe. Every demographic of our state gets hit, from the old to the young to the poor to the people with pre-existing conditions, opiate addiction. It goes on and on. Hospitals start tumbling. Community health cares are in serious financial troubles, whether they stay open or not. The only thing I'd like to say to President Trump is that in West Virginia, you won overwhelmingly. And that wasn't Republican, that was Democrat votes, that was independents, that were people that were upset with the system, thinking the previous administration left them behind. So now just going down a path of partisan politics is not how he got elected, not how he got the votes in West Virginia. And maybe it's time to get us former governors who had to work across the aisles to come together. There's 11 of us, about evenly split between Democrats and Republicans. We could sit down. We understand the challenges of compromise, and we understand the challenges that the states are having, Joe. I think that we could find a pathway forward if there is one.
What did the president do to help his case in trying to pass a health care bill?
What did he do to help his case?
Yeah, what would you say he did well and try to help get something passed?
You know, the president is an ultimate salesman. You know, you keep saying, well, how he says this, and then he doesn't realize that that didn't work. Well, a good salesperson never thinks they lose a sale. They think people make bad decisions, but they still have the best product, and they always have confidence they're going to make that sell sooner or later. That's a ultimate salesperson that's been very successful. I look at that as the same approach. I like to think that I was a pretty good salesperson. I made a living selling, working in my family's business, but I just said that sometimes I didn't present my product the way it should have been presented. I go back and figure another way to show you a better value for the product I have. That hasn't been done, but just saying that he's going to give up, I don't think so. I think they're still going down this path, and I would encourage all of my colleagues, Democrats and Republicans, let's come together. Sooner or later, we've got to work together. We were sent here as a member of the United States Senate, the greatest deliberate body in the world, to work through these problems. But if you don't even bring us into the conversation, not into the foray, we're not going to be able to help you solve it.
Okay, so Senator, one of your colleagues, John McCain, beloved by many people, is ill. He's in the hospital. The vote was delayed because of his hospitalization. Another one of your colleagues on the House side, Congressman Steve Scalise, who was shot basically because he was a Republican, nearly died, is suffering now from a series of operations because of infections, which are critically and perhaps sometimes really lethally dangerous in terms of gunshot victims. Everyone hopes that both these men succeed, gain great health, and prosper. Okay? So why don't you, Senator, you live about a good 3 wood in West Virginia from Washington, D.C., so you go home a lot. You know what people are thinking. You're on the ground more than most United States senators. Do you think most of the people in West Virginia would go for a health insurance policy similar to the ones that Senator McCain and Congressman Scalise have? Why not put that together?
Well, we have. I think we're going to have a bill coming up. If you're in any place in America and the exchanges aren't working, you can't get on exchange, you should be able to get on the DC exchange, the same thing that we're on. We pay. It's nothing elaborate, but it's a good policy. We're able to pay for it. Anybody in America should be able to get on the same exchange that I have, that Senator McCain has, and Congressman Scalise. And again, Mike, you're correct. All of our prayers go out for these two great guys. They're really good people, and we enjoy working with them. So I wish them a speedy recovery. But it also, Mike, speaks to the, if everything hinges on just a one vote, doesn't it say that maybe you have problems with what you're presenting if it all depends on whether this person is here and can cast that vote or not? I would say that it kind of speaks volumes to, don't you think everything that we should set together, just come to me. I speak to Susan Collins quite frequently. I'm willing to work with all my colleagues. I think they all know that. And I can give them a good reading on where the moderate, conservative, Democratic person and party is in this country. West Virginia is very moderate, conservative Democrats, and they're pretty grounded, and they want something done, and they don't want it taken away. They don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, Mike. And that's exactly what would happen. Yeah. And if you think you can convince them to go ahead and repeal now, and you're going to come back and fix it in 2 years, we just went through an exercise, an excruciating exercise. They couldn't even get the 50 votes that were needed. How are we going to come together, and not on a budget reconciliation? It'll take 60 votes to fix and repair anything.
Yeah, so Joe, tell us about the good people of West Virginia. You obviously represent them in the Senate. You represented them as a governor. Yeah. They obviously, I would guess, a majority of West Virginians still support Donald Trump. What do you hear from them when you go home? And why do you think a majority of your own state, why do you think they still support Donald Trump? And what are they telling you with that support?
Well, Joe, let's just take yesterday, the Made in America, revisiting the free trade, the NAFTA trade agreement. West Virginians believe that it really harmed our state. We lost our steel making, our foundries for aluminum. We lost our glass making, pottery. We lost all the heavy lifting, the chemicals. So they believe that the overreach from previous administrations have harmed them and lost them their jobs. They believe in the restructuring, if you will, or right sizing back to a more competitive situation to where we can compete, and we still need to make things, if nothing more than just a national security, but the good jobs that came with it. That's what West Virginia lost and got left behind. Then the social issues. They know right from wrong. These are the best people in the world, the hardest working people. The West Virginia people will give you anything they have. They'll help anybody that's down and out. And they expect basically government to be their partner. Doesn't have to be their provider, just be my good partner. That's what we're looking for, and they don't think the government was their good partner before, so they turn to someone who is unconventional, totally different than anything they've ever seen, and said, why not try it? The other hasn't worked for us. Now, health care, you can't talk about, I'm going to help you, I'm on your side, and for the first time you've gotten health care. Well, if you have any empathy or sympathy for me, I've never had health care, I've been using the emergency room. Can't you at least work with me and educate me and help me in how I can use it to live a better quality life and be more cost effective for the government and the people that are giving me this opportunity? That's what I would like to see done, and that's what I'm willing to sit down and work on, Joe. But West Virginians really felt like they were left behind.
All right, Senator Joe Manchin, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks, Mika.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.